Hello and welcome back to Science Scope. In our last two episodes, we explored the evolution of fashion and clothing over the centuries from the beginning of civilization until the 19th century. Today in our final episode of the series, we'll be picking up where we left off and discussing the transition from 20th century fashion to the present day. We'll delve into how fashion has become more inclusive and diverse, and the impact that has had on society. So, sit back and enjoy as we take a journey through the history of fashion. In the early 1900s, the fashion industry was dominated by the European fashion houses, and the trend was towards formal and restrictive clothing. Women's fashion was characterized by long skirts, high collars, and tight corsets, while men's fashion was marked by suits and ties. The influence of Romanticism, Exoticism, and Historicism can be seen in the designs of Paul Poiret and Mariano Fortuny. However, the First World War brought about significant changes in fashion, as women took on more active roles and fashion became more practical. The 1920s saw the emergence of the flapper style, characterized by shorter hemlines, looser clothing, and the iconic bob haircut. In the 1930s, fashion became more glamorous and elegant, with sportswear, Hollywood and jazz playing a significant role in setting the trends. Women's fashion was characterized by bias-cut dresses, fur coats, and high heels, while men's fashion saw the emergence of the double-breasted suit. The Great Depression and the Second World War had a significant impact on fashion. During the Great Depression, people had less disposable income, which led to a decrease in demand for high-end fashion. As a result, simpler and more practical clothing styles became popular. Women's hemlines became longer and waistlines higher, reflecting a more modest and conservative style. In contrast, during the Second World War, clothing became even more practical due to fabric rationing. Women's clothing became more masculine, with trousers becoming more common, and utility clothing like jumpsuits and overalls became popular. The period from the 1950s to the 1990s saw significant changes in fashion around the world. In the 1950s, women's fashion was characterized by full skirts, cinched waists, and bold prints. Men's fashion consisted of tailored suits and hats. The 1960s saw a shift towards more daring and colorful designs, with miniskirts becoming popular for women and bell-bottom pants for men. The hippie movement also influenced fashion with its bohemian style. In the 1970s, disco culture emerged, and fashion reflected this with glittery and flashy outfits. Women wore jumpsuits and platform shoes, while men sported wide collars and flared pants. The 1980s saw a return to more structured and tailored clothing, with power suits for women and preppy styles for men. The punk movement also influenced fashion with its edgy and rebellious style. By the 1990s, fashion became more casual and comfortable, with grunge and hip-hop cultures influencing streetwear. Baggy jeans, oversized t-shirts, and sneakers became popular, and women's fashion saw a rise in minimalism and simplicity. Overall, fashion during this period reflected the cultural and social changes happening around the world, with each decade bringing its own unique style and trends. As we entered the 21st century, the world of fashion began to evolve rapidly. With the rise of social media and online shopping, fashion trends began to spread across the globe faster than ever before. The early 2000s saw the popularity of low-rise jeans, crop tops, and velour tracksuits. As the decade progressed, fashion became more eclectic, with trends like boho chic and neon colors gaining popularity. In the 2010s, fashion became even more diverse, with streetwear and athleisure taking center stage. Brands like Supreme and Off-White became household names, and collaborations between high-end designers and sportswear brands became commonplace. The rise of sustainable and ethical fashion also became an important trend, as consumers became more conscious of the impact of their clothing choices. Looking towards the future, the trend towards sustainable and ethical fashion is likely to continue, with more and more brands adopting environmentally friendly practices. Technology is also likely to play a bigger role in fashion, with virtual try-ons and personalized styling becoming more common. The evolution of fashion has been shaped by various factors, including historical eras, cultural influences, and technological advancements. Each era and region have contributed to the rich tapestry of fashion, with designers and brands constantly pushing the boundaries of what is possible. From the Asian kimono to the Indian sari, African dashiki and kaftan to Latin American poncho and huipil, as fashion continues to evolve, it will be interesting to see what new trends and styles emerge, but we'll likely see many more modern urban styles that are inspired from traditional clothing, making fashion to be even more diverse and inclusive. Thank you for joining us for our 3-part video series on the evolution of fashion. We hope you've enjoyed learning about the rich history of fashion. Please give us a thumbs up if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay updated on future content. Thank you for your support.